We got solid pitching from Kyle Gibson. We got the Phillies winning their 23rd series of the season. We got Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto going back to back. We also got JT going twice yard, and we also got Bryce Harper hitting his 100th home run in Phillies red pinstripes. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Phightins Phinal here on the Edge of Philly Sports Network with your boy Matty B. Yeah, and all that and then some, as I just kind of went over a nutshell summary snapshot of what went down in South Florida tonight. The Phillies defeating the Florida Marlins or Miami Marlins 6-1, 5 in a row now. 23rd series victory of the year as they defeat the Marlins. And pretty much, I said this kind of back in June or July when the Phillies had kind of, in my estimation, gotten the monkey off their back with the Marlins. But I think that it's safe to say, at least for 2022, that the Marlins are no longer that team for us that we have to really kind of worry about. And they did it tonight in Phillies fashion. They did it with the long ball. They did it the way this team is designed to do it in. JT back-to-back, or JT and Bryce go back-to-back. And then JT then follows that up with his second homer of the night. And then Kyle Gibson pitched really well. We got the good version of Kyle Gibson tonight as we get to that elusive folks, number 80. That's right, our 80th victory of the season. The Phillies now 80-62, 18 games over 500, with about 20 games left to play. And I can feel it, man. I can feel it. There's some people around here that think the Phillies are not going to make the playoffs. I think that's almost impossible. No, it's not impossible. But I'm really liking the way they got the W tonight, 6-1 in a game that was never really close. Steve says they got the series win. That's right, Steve, for the 23rd time. This season, the Phillies have won a series, and yeah. So let's get to the line. Let's kind of go over this. We got some things we want to talk about tonight. Phillies would finish tonight with 6 runs on 8 hits. The Marlins 1 run, 8 hits, no errors committed tonight by either team. How the scoring went down. JJ Bleday would get things going in the first for the Marlins as he would knock Brian Anderson in to make it 1-0 Marlins. But then that's the way the score would remain all the way. This was in the bottom of the first. The score would remain that all the way to the 6th when Bryce Harper would hit a 405 feet deep homer to left center, his 100th in a Philadelphia Phillies uniform to tie things up at 1. JT would then follow that up right behind him with a solo shot back-to-back, 2-1 Phillies, and then a little bit later in the inning, Gene Segura would cap off the 6th inning scoring for the Phillies with a double, scoring Bryson Stott a 3-run 6th inning to kind of really put this game out of reach for the Marlins. JT then would go yard for a second time in the 7th inning, a 3-run shot to make it 6-1, and that is all they needed, of course, and then some. Actually, they only needed 2. On the line individually, Kyle Schwarber 1 for 5 in 1 hit. He did strike out 2 more times, and he left 2 runners on base. Dalton Guthrie would come in a little later on in the game for just maybe to get some time. Rhys Hoskins, before getting hurt, was 0 for 0. It was his first at bat. Rhys got hit in the hand. Last I had heard was they had rushed him to the hospital, or not, I don't know, rushed is the word, but taking him to the hospital. They get some x-rays on that hand, not really certain where the injury is on that, but Hoskins was left the game. Edmundo Sosa would come in. I'm sorry, no, Matt Verlaine would come in, I think, at one point to play first base. I don't know who it was. But Sosa would finish 0 for 3. Bryce Harper would go 1 for 3. JT 2 for 4, 4 RBIs, 2 home runs, and he gets my offensive player of the game. Alec Boehm 0 for 3. Bryson Stott 1 for 4. Gene Segura 1 for 3. Nick Maton 0 for 1. Matt Verlaine 0 for 2. And Brandon Marsh 0 for 4. On the Marlins side of things, not much cooking when you only score 1 run. Miguel Rojas had a hit. Brian Anderson also had a hit. Nick Forte had a hit. And J.J. Bleday with the only RBI for the Marlins tonight in the 6-1 loss. Pitching-wise, Phillies had 6 good innings from Kyle Gibson. He gave up 6 hits, 1 run. It was earned. He struck out 7 and did not walk anybody. Brad Hand, Zach Eflin, and Connor Brogdon would come on and work the rest of the game in relief for the Phillies in this one. And that was and Kyle Gibson got the win. It was his 10th win of the year. He's now 10-6. Edward Cabrera pitched for the Marlins. He took the loss. He went 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs. They were earned, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Blyer, Brazdon, and Nardi would come on as well. And there you have it, 6-1 Phillies coming out of this very impressive 5-game winning streak now. 5 games. And I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. Steve hits me up with they will make it, but they need to beat the Braves in the second wild card round. We'll see. Steve, I'm not so sold on the fact that the Braves and Phillies will meet in the wild card round. I'm not. There's 20 games left, and there's a lot of baseball to go. And if you can see over my shoulder here, the Mets are metting it up. The Phillies are one inning away from being 8 games out of first place. The Phillies and Braves have 7 games remaining head to head. I'm not so certain it's going to be Phillies and Braves in a wild card. Not in a minute or a mile. Not certain at all. Wayne says 90 wins looms very likely. Do you think we'd be there when the year started? You know what? That's a great question, Wayne. And for those of you who weren't with me when this thing all kind of got kicked off, yeah, I did. I think we all kind of did. I think some people out there were ashamed to admit that. I think everybody was really excited about the offseason, the signings, especially after the lockout ended, of course, and it was a big free for all. Uh, you know, 90 wins, maybe not. I think my number was 89, 88, somewhere around there. So I guess that's 90, but you don't want to say 90 because that's a taboo number. Um, I think a lot of people were there. I just don't know if you could put a number on it, but I don't think there's many people or Phillies fans out there that would tell you at the beginning of the season they didn't expect the Phillies to make the playoffs. So, yeah, so I want to say I was there. Yeah, and it says it looks very likely. It most certainly does. As I mentioned, let's go to the out of town scoreboard because the Mets and Cubs are going at it out there in a City Field. The Cubs are up late 6-3 now. I believe this game has gone to the. Let me see, has it gone to the ninth? It has gone to the ninth. Or no, yep, we have gone to the ninth. So 6-3 Cubs in the top of the ninth. If the Cubs can hang on, the Phillies will pull to within 8 games out of first place in the NL East. The Cardinals are beating the Brewers 3-1 in the bottom of the seventh. San Diego fell earlier tonight, 6-1 to the Mariners, and the Braves lost 4-1 to the Giants. And that is all the games really that mean anything to the Phillies right now as we push forward towards the playoffs. And folks, I thought about this. I considered this. I didn't know if I was going to do this tonight, but I could not resist because that's the kind of guy I am. A guy that likes to stick his face in the fan and tempt fate. But here we go. The Phillies' magic number to clinch a playoff spot is now 18. And as a result of their win tonight and San Diego Padre loss, the Phillies' number to clinch is now 18. I'm that might have been the wrong thing to do. I don't care. I'm feeling that I'm feeling it. So 18 is now the magic number for the Phillies to clinch a playoff spot in the National League playoffs this year. And I'm excited. Leave me alone. Don't judge me. I'm excited. So 6-1. Let's go talk a little bit about Bryce Harper. 100 home runs in a Phillies uniform. He's won an MVP already. Say what you want, and I know I'm not going to sit here and say to you that I was, not on board with the signing of Bryce Harper. Of course I was. I think we all were, right? Oh, my glasses are so crooked. I think we were all on board with it. There's been times throughout his tenure here that it's been frustrating. He's gone in his own slumps. He's had his own issues, but to do what he's achieved, or to achieve what he's achieved here in the time that he's been here, won an MVP, and now he's hit 100 home runs in the Phillies uniform in what was it, 3 seasons? It's pretty amazing, And one of those seasons was a damn 60 gamer. So, hats off to Bryce. Congratulations on your 100th home run as a Philly. Outstanding, standing accomplishment. Sean hits me up with what's up, Matty. Realmuto had a good game tonight. He did have a good game tonight, and I have left JT alone, Sean. It's my mantra. JT has played a lot better lately, and I'm going to leave him alone. I'm going to leave him alone because he's earned it. And tonight was a hell of a game for him. 2 home runs, and he continues to swing a consistent bat. It's a great thing to see. We're going to need this. This is what we need now. Schwarber, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else there is that needs to be said. He's become a liability in our lineup, and I don't. No one wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to mention Schwarber's name, and we don't want to say that we might have made a mistake here, but he's become a liability in our lineup offensively. He's ineffective right now. He's not hitting home runs, which means that he's not hitting at all. So I believe his average now. Let's take a look at where old Kyle Schwarber's average is dipped to tonight. So after tonight's action, Kyle Schwarber is now down to 213, 213 batting average for a leadoff hitter. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. But yeah, but Sean, I agree. JT's been playing well, but we need that. We need that from him. That's what he's here to do. This is what the kind of play that I think he's been capable of for forever. Last year he didn't have a good year. 20 he didn't have a good year, or he had a decent year, but again that COVID year. But last year was horrible, and he's rebounded well. And I wrote him pretty hard about it, but he's definitely answered the bell. I got to give it to him. Sean says also, I think he's been playing well ever since not playing in the Toronto series. You agree? That's what you can kind of go. You can kind of bring it back there, right? That's kind of what everybody seems to point to because that's basically when it started. And yeah, I do agree with that. And it's funny how things went. And I remember we talked about that. That was a hot topic, man. Not being a good teammate or being a good teammate. Where do you come out on that? Risking his life, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's amazing how things kind of find the silver lining. Just like the Alec Boehm situation with the 3 errors in the same inning, and he pulled himself out of that for the entire season after that. So I guess in the darkest times come the best results. So I got to give it to him. Wayne says, "Do you think Thompson juggles his lineup at all? If so, when?" Wayne, I would love to tell you that he would juggle the lineup, but if he hasn't done it up to this point, with maybe the exception of clinching, and if there's some games left, he'll give some people some time off. But as far as the regulars and how this team comes at it every night, he's been going at this for 141 games or for 91 games since he's been the manager. I don't see it being juggled. I don't think maybe you even it's really amazing for me to say this. Maybe you don't tempt fate here, and it's not like they're performing up to their max potential, but I don't think you do, and I don't think he does because we always go back to that. Who would be the leadoff hitter? And I imagine that's who you're talking about. Is maybe moving Schwarber down. We've been calling for this since May. There's some people that have been calling for this since April. I was late to the party. I started calling for it in late June, early July, but he is not a leadoff hitter. Matter of fact, man, he's like right now the way he's swinging that bat, he's my seventh, maybe my eighth hitter in this lineup. He is a liability up there. But as far as juggling the lineup, no, I don't see it happening. This is the lineup that's going to be in the playoffs. This is the lineup that you're going to see this team come out with every night, and that's just the reality of it. Until we get a leadoff hitter, until we figure out what to put him in the lineup, because it's not a leadoff. I don't see a juggle move happening. Sean is agreeing with me. Move Schwarber down the lineup. If, like you said before, I've been saying it for months, Sean, and no one seems to be listening because every day when I see the lineup card comes out, there he is, at the top of that lineup, striking out away, and it's a liability. Let's face it, folks, it's an actual liability. But this is not a night to talk about Kyle Schwarber. It's a night to celebrate the Phillies with their 80th victory of the year. As I mentioned, they are creeping ever so close to ending that 18-year drought. Tonight was a big night to get to this point now. The Philadelphia Philly magic number to clinch a playoff spot is now at 18 as a result of their victory and the Padres loss. And if the Cubs, let's go check in on the Cubs real quick. If the Cubs can hang on tonight, if they hang on, the Phillies could find themselves 8 games out of first place. 8 games out of first place. 8 games out of first place with 20 remaining. The dream is not dead, folks. It really isn't. The Braves are not. They've cooled off a little bit, but the dream is not dead, and I'm not going to let it die until it needs to die. So, big night for the Phillies. Tomorrow they will go for the series sweep over the Miami Marlins down there in South Florida, and then they'll be heading off to Atlanta for a huge 3-game set over the weekend against the Braves before returning home for their final home series of the season, welcoming in Toronto and the Atlanta Braves, and then going out on the road to finish things up for the year. Tomorrow at 6:40, Noah Syndergaard will take the mound for the Phillies. He is 9-9, 4.09, and he'll be opposed by Pablo Lopez, 8-10, 4.04 ERA. 6:40 start down there in South Florida as the Phillies look for the season sweep over the Miami Marlins. So, yeah, it would be something, Wayne. And good God, there's been a lot of us that have followed this team from the beginning of the year. Me being one who's come out here for the last 141 nights and went game by game with you guys. And even in the darkest days of 13 and a half out and 15 and a half out and going 4-15 against the Mets head to head, to sit here on September 14th and say that we are potentially 8 games out of first place with 20 the remaining, with 20 left. It's to me, it's utterly amazing. It's actually amazing. It's utterly. I can't fathom it, man. I really can't. And that's why baseball is a great sport because it's not really over until it's really over. And even when it seems like it's over, it ain't. And it's just amazing the run here. But I'm going to kind of sit on my hands with it a little bit, but definitely keeping an eye on it. Make a run at the division title. Put the pressure on the Mets and Braves. Totally agree with you. Um, and now that we had some Zach Eflin action tonight, we had some Dominguez action last night. The Phillies are definitely looking. Eflin pitched an inning tonight. He did have a strikeout. He looked pretty good. We're getting that rotation back to form. Whether or not that rotation exists with Zach Eflin in it right now, or he's a long reliever or such out of that bullpen right now. Uh, I don't think you kind of mess with Falter until he falters, so to speak. But we're getting strong right now. We're the best part of where we need to be strong, the strongest, and that is in our pitching staff for this playoff stretch run. And it's good news. You get Eflin, you get Dominguez back, and you potentially have Zach Wheeler, hopefully right behind them too, as we get moving to the playoffs. So we're getting healthy at the right time. That's right, Ellis. I will keep the faith till the end. How about the Cubs scoring 6 in the Mets? I'm sorry, Mets in the first. Yeah. Very reminiscent, and I'm not going to sit here and say it, but if they lose tonight, 8 games out with 20 left to play, and starting to kind of smell and taste a little bit of 2007 right now, then I don't want to say that. You guys are making me, we're going to jinx it, but, we were 7 out with 17 left. What's the difference between, 8 and 20? Yeah, I don't know, but I'm liking it, man. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And at the very least bit, as you guys mentioned, we'll at least put the pressure on them a little bit. Even if we can't catch them, we'll make them maybe play a little harder than they need to, potentially need to have played at this part of the season, and maybe gas them a little bit as they enter the playoffs too. So, but to answer your question earlier tonight, I don't think necessarily the Phillies and Braves will meet in the first round of the playoffs. I don't. I'm looking at a Phillies Mets series. I really am. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think the Braves will probably overtake the Mets eventually and win the NL East, thus putting the Mets down at that number 1 wild card spot, which would be right behind the Phillies. So it would be Phillies Mets in the first round of the wild card in the wild card series, which would be just epic. And there's all kinds of stuff going on there that we'll be talking about. But let's get there first, shall we? Tomorrow night, Noah Syndergaard will go for the series sweep over the Marlins. Phillies will be looking for their 81st win. How about that, folks? 80 wins. 80 and 62 with 20 left. I know we're not going to win all 20. We're not going to win 100 games, but there is a chance for 90 wins. There's absolutely a chance for 90 wins. And again, another question that was asked earlier tonight. Did I see that coming? I think we kind of all did, but not. No one wanted to say 90, but we thought it. And everyone gave me the 87 or the 88 wins, and I think mine was 89, as I said. But yeah, I can see it. I can definitely see it. So big night for the Phillies. Big night for Bryce Harper. Big night for JT Realmuto. Big night for Zach Eflin as he returns to the mound for the first time in like 2 months. All is well in South Philadelphia on this Wednesday evening. And let's go ahead and pay some bills. Don't forget about Dolan's Bar, the greatest bar in Delco. Go in there, ask for the gritty sandwich, and then report back to me and tell me how the gritty is, because I've been promised one and I haven't gotten one yet. But go check out Dolan's Bar. Also, go check out phillysportstrips.com. Just kind of a snippet of some of the stuff they got going on. They got trips to all the Eagles road games this year, and then there's going to be a tailgate at the Gatehouse this coming Monday in preparation for the Eagle-Viking Monday night game. Yeah, it's going to be really some really good stuff. And don't forget, we will be out live on location. We do pre, post, and halftime shows every week, but this one on October 2nd will be the first one that EOP and the Painted Lions actually goes out live and does, and it'll be at the South House in on South 13th Street. So go ahead and check us out that day. Should be fun. I'll probably be there, if not just to hang out. Here's our schedule right now. It is Wednesday night. Earlier tonight was the Edge of Philly, was COP Live with Al and Freddie, and of course me, the Phightins Phinal. Tomorrow, look at all this. You got Philly Press Box Radio, who is on a special night and time for night this week. You got Kyle Quinn and the Birds IQ podcast. You got the Round Mound, the Attack of Third, attacking third, and then of course me, the Phightins Phinal, right after the Phillies game tomorrow night. So what's it? 1, 2, 3, 5 shows tomorrow night in one night alone. So make sure you're checking out what we got going on here on EOP, and also check out this guy if you got workman's compensation, motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or criminal law. Dave Cherry, 610-565-0300. And if you call him, tell him that the boys at EOP and Matty B sent you. So, folks, there you have it. Down and dirty, 80-62. Bryce Harper, 100 home runs in a Phillies uniform. JT and Bryce go back to back. The Phillies are on the verge of being 8 games out of first place with 20 left to play, and their magic number to clinch a playoff spot in the National League is now down to 18 games, in virtue of the Padres loss tonight and the Phillies win. And tomorrow we go for the series sweep, I should say. We got the series win. That's our 23rd of the year. Tomorrow we go for the series sweep of the Fish before heading on down to, or up to, from where they are, to Atlanta and face off against the Braves. The first of 7 games remaining that we have with the Atlanta Braves that could be huge in how this thing all kind of plays itself out. Keep the faith alive. It's not dead yet. The dream lives on. Go Phils. That's going to wrap me up. I think I'm done, except for one thing. Harry the K, what do you got for me?
He has high hopes. He has high hopes. He has high apple pie in the sky.